Welcome to Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. I am Jill Schlesinger, certified financial planner. I'm also a CBS News business analyst, and I'm joined by my executive producer extraordinaire, Mark Talercio, who is also a certified financial planner.
I was waiting for you to throw that in there.
CFP. Yeah. I mean, you've earned it.
It's my claim to fame nowadays.
I like that. People love that. And I love it too. One of the few producers who, on his own, decided to go get the CFP certification and pass the test.
Yes.
I mean, unbelievable. Don't want to do that again.
No. That's why I will keep doing the continuing ed.
Forever and ever. And pay the fee.
Right.
Kevin, thanks you very much. He's the head of the CFP board. Okay, Mark, what's the big question of the day?
One of the big questions that we get on a regular basis, what is a brokerage account? Why should I have a brokerage account? When should I use it? Why shouldn't I be afraid to use it?
Okay, so a brokerage account is, for many people, a way of just saving and investing more money outside of retirement. So a brokerage account is a great idea. Maybe you're maxing out your 401k and you've got some money in your 529 account for your kids, and now you want to add just like a supplemental investment account. And a brokerage account can be in anyone's name jointly. It can be held individually. I just told a friend of ours to open up a brokerage account and make it a transfer on death account because she is not married and she wants to make sure that if she were to die, that account would not go through probate, that it would just pass to her son. So that's it. So titling is a very distinct part of the brokerage account environment. Now, the thing is, with your retirement accounts, whether it's a Roth or a traditional, you don't have to pay tax on an ongoing basis. But money that's in a brokerage account, any interest you earn, any dividends that are created, that is taxable income.
Capital gains.
Capital gains if you sell. So it's a taxable account.
That's the key difference.
So, Mark, why use a brokerage account instead of, say, a Roth account? Like a Roth, many people have asked us, why would you tell people to open a brokerage account rather than open a Roth or do a backdoor Roth?
I guess it depends on what stage of life you're in, but a brokerage account, there's just a lot more flexibility. Retirement accounts have all sorts of rules associated with them in terms of how much you can contribute, when you can get your hands on the money, how long the accounts have been open. A brokerage account, there's no strings attached. It's there if you need it.
A lot of times people will ask us, well, can I just save for my kid, but not in a 529 plan because they're worried that maybe their kid won't go to college. And a brokerage account is a perfect option for that.
Yeah, I have one for my kid. We also have a 529 plan, but I also have a custodial account for my son, and any money that we get for the holidays. And my son is, my wife is Chinese, so there's a lot of celebrations around the Chinese New Year. And
God bless the Chinese. It's all about cash.
And they get those red pockets, and they're always stuffed full of cash. So every time he gets one, I just dump it right into the brokerage account.
And, I think the cool thing is that if you are opening a brokerage account with the idea of working towards a goal with your kid, you can also introduce that kid to some of these concepts. And I think that's a really interesting thing to consider, that you can say to a kid, hey, this is your money. I'm going to teach you about this. Inside of a brokerage account, what can you put in it?
I mean, it's kind of the options are limitless. There's a zillion different index funds you could choose from, stocks, bonds, commodities, sector funds, you name it. You can do it pretty much.
So we are very boring, plain vanilla. And we like putting index funds inside of your brokerage account because the tax liability is low. Why? An index fund is based on an index, the basket of whatever that index is. And that means there's no trading inside of the fund. So there's no fund manager trading intraday. There's no turnover. And a lot of managed funds, people don't realize this, managed funds that buy and sell throughout the year, you get a share of that every fall, right around this time, October, November, December, you're going to get a distribution. You're going to get a capital gains distribution. With an index fund, that is completely minimized. And what about people who are actively trading? I don't think they realize that there is a massive tax that's due. It's a short-term, usually a short-term capital gains, which is just whatever your tax bracket is that year, that's what that tax is going to be. But the problem is, Mark, we encounter so many people. They have brokerage accounts. They bought something and they can't sell it to fund something. So this is how the question comes up. Hey, Mark, I'm a listener to the show. I have a bunch of money in my brokerage account. I have a big capital gain. I've been investing for 10 years. I'm buying a house and I'm about to get a mortgage. The mortgage is 6.25%. And I have to borrow as much as possible because I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell the money, the investment inside the brokerage account because I don't want to pay my capital gains. What's the answer?
Well, that's kind of similar to myself. I mean, yes, brokerage accounts can be viewed as supplemental retirement accounts, but they can also be viewed as accounts that help you now, help you achieve goals now. You started saving 10 years ago and the money has grown and grown and grown, and now it's time to maybe buy a house. That was me. That was me in 2017. For about 10 years, I lived very cheaply in New York City because I had a great landlord. She never raised my rent, and I was able to save a lot of money. And when the time came in 2017 for my wife and I to buy our first apartment here in the city, my brokerage account was probably like $200,000 at the time. And man, I loved it. I loved looking at that money, and it was peace of mind and
Comfort.
a security blanket. But you know what? I needed that money for a down payment. So I liquidated the whole thing. It went from 200 to zero overnight. Poof.
Were you scared?
Maybe at first, but then I realized, okay, well, I'm not selling it and blowing it. I'm selling it and I'm buying a house.
Right. It's still on your balance sheet.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when you have an account like that, the most important thing to remember is it's there to be used. I mean, I know that many people don't use it also because they're like, well, no, I want to leave it to my kids. You might need it. It's okay to use it. So I think that as you approach some big financial goal and you're worried about selling an asset, we want to hear from you because you need our help. So if you're worried about invading your brokerage account, you don't want to pay the capital gains, you are worried about making sure that that money is available in the future, or you're just scared not to have the liquidity, go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know what's going on. We will hold your hand through the process. Mark has gone through it. He can tell you exactly what you're going to probably be feeling. And on the other side of that, you'll have a beautiful apartment. Now it's not even one apartment. It's 3 apartments. So amazing. Anyway, give us a holler. Thanks so much for watching. We'll find you next time.